That's what we were. And it was chocolate on the outside.
Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Antoinette Kolar. I am so privileged to be here with the wonderful Terry Magro today.
So sweet. Hello, everybody.
One of our favorite people in the world, Terry and her husband Paul and her son Mark are the co-founders of the Michael Magro Foundation. If you live on Long Island, there's a very high chance you have come to know them as one of the foundational nonprofits on the island, making a difference, helping families really fight childhood cancer. And Terry, you know this story. Your family dealt with this hands-on in the early 2000s. This is actually your 20th
20th
year.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
20 years of raising money, 90% people going directly to families that are battling cancer. And we're going to talk about where that money goes, but it goes directly to the families, which is amazing. We have an all volunteer board, tons of volunteers outside of that. And we're talking today to help you understand the tremendous benefits of not only giving donations and volunteering, but when you give your donations, where does that money go and what can it really do? So we have a campaign where we are boosting recurring donations. So these are donations you'd make once a month. We're all familiar with this concept. Most of us give money once a month, low amounts, to charities that touch our heart. And we are putting the Magro Foundation on the table for your consideration. And Terry is going to speak about the very specific things that your money will be used for. So, Terry, we have recurring donations suggested starting value at $33.
$33.
And it says $33 provides 2 distraction bags filled with toys and games to bring smiles during treatments. Can you tell us what is a distraction bag? Why is this so important?
Yeah. So thank you, Heather. I appreciate the time. Well, let me first tell you how we came up with 33.
Oh, yeah.
So our logo is a penguin with a lacrosse stick, and Michael was in seventh grade. He was a lacrosse player, absolutely loved it, and his number at Hicksville Middle School was 33. So everything that surrounds us is 33. And we
Right.
have a lot of fun with it,
We
right?
do.
When we have the basketball logo, he's throwing a basketball, kicking a soccer ball, dressed up as a chef. So 33 has a lot of significance to us. So that's what we decided to start. I know traditionally you'll see a lot of recurrent monthly donations at $25, but we decided that we were going to
For the
step it up a little
significance
bit
of
for the
33.
significance of
Yes,
33.
beautiful.
So we had this idea, actually it's only a couple of years, whereas Heather mentioned, we're 20 years into the foundation,
Good
which is
stuff
great.
happening.
Lots of great stuff, lots of great stuff. But when we were talking to some of the social workers and what I, noticed, and just having kids yourself, that they don't have a lot of patience to wait for things. So now you put them in an exam room, they're waiting for a radiology procedure, they're coming out of anesthesia, they're in that recovery room, they're home, they're kind of bored. And there's nothing that they can do. They can't really move around all that much yet. So they're kind of stuck in the chair or the bed. So we said, you know what, why don't we put together a fun bag? So it's a string bag that we co-brand our logo, the foundation's logo, and the company's logo on the bag. And we make up a bunch of these, and then we bring them to ambulatory centers at the various hospitals on Long Island. So the 3 main ones on Long Island is Stony Brook, Children's Pediatric, Cohen's Children, and NYU, the former Winthrop, which is now NYU, Langone, Long Island. So we bring it to those ambulatory care units, to the emergency room, to pediatrics, to a variety of different places. And if mom or dad or a sibling or somebody, or maybe the child life specialist from the hospital is sitting with the child trying to just kind of let the time go by, they'll pull something out of the bag, and traditionally it's a deck of cards. It could be regular playing cards. It could be Uno, crayons, a coloring book,
You're right.
stickers, all little things that seem so frivolous to us, but make such a difference if they can do a small little arts and crafts
Absolutely.
kind of,
And it makes such a
project.
difference.
Yeah,
These distraction bags that $33 will purchase for the kids
yeah,
make such a difference because these children are battling cancer and they're traumatized.
right,
They are constantly in treatment. They're going through chemotherapy. They're getting anesthesia. They can't go to
correct,
school a lot of the
right,
times.
right.
They're experiencing bodily changes.
Yeah, yeah,
So many
so
different
many
things
things.
going on. So
Yeah.
when we say $33 makes a huge difference, with something called a distraction bag that essentially has games and things to keep them distracted from their
It, it
cancer journey,
it
it
really,
makes a big
it's an
difference.
impact, and it's
Yeah,
something so small that sounds
right.
so small, but yet the impact of it is tremendous. And it's not only the child. What we have found over the past couple of years of doing this is it also distracts the parents.
Right.
They're
They'll
sitting there
engage,
watching the
they'll
clock,
play
and they'll
cards,
play
right?
cards,
They'll
and
play with the
they're
toy.
right. They're waiting for the doctor to come, for the anesthesiologist to come in, for somebody to say you can be discharged. And
Mm.
5 minutes could
Big
feel like an
difference.
hour.
Huge.
And so we just, it's just
We jump
something
on our
fun.
cell phones all day
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
distracted from real life.
And here we
You're
have,
right.
we have to
Right,
do
right,
something
right,
that's fun.
right.
So
That's fun
it's,
for the children.
yeah, it's just a lot of fun kinds of
Yeah,
kind of things, and they're fabulous. They really are. The
yeah.
ambulatory, the doctors,
Something
the
so
nurses
simple makes such
are
a big
so
difference. Yeah.
excited about them, and we bring them and store them in closets, and then they
Mm-hmm.
distribute them as needed, and then we just keep refilling them.
Beautiful.
And so your company
Yeah,
logo can be seen by a lot of people, and that's really nice. And if you
yeah.
have something you
So
want
when you
us to
talk
include,
about the company logo, that's for sponsoring,
that's
right?
sponsoring the
That's
bag,
different. That's
right?
for
So you
sponsoring the
can,
bag.
yeah, you can do that, or you can just make donations on a regular basis to put towards the products that we put into the
Right.
bags. So it's really twofold. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a two-pronged type of
Mm-hmm.
donation. So
So yeah, companies have an ability, companies want to be involved with community-based nonprofits that are visible to them. They can reach out and touch the people. They can see what's making a difference. So
yeah,
sponsorship is also a really important and a valuable opportunity for you if you're running a company, if you want to get involved with a local charity, that definitely you can see your money going to where you work, where you live. The Magro Foundation is great
right.
for that.
Yes.
All right, excellent. So $33, people, if you can make a recurring $33 donation, it is going to make a huge difference in the lives, the daily lives of children who are going through treatment day in and day out and have just had their lives disrupted. Okay, so $50, a
Mm-hmm.
recurring $50 purchases essential vitamins for kids undergoing chemotherapy.
Mm.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So $50 and the $100, they both have a lot of impact. So there are a lot of vitamins, over the counter types of vitamins. They're not covered by insurance, but they cost a lot of money.
Right.
And so when you're really trying to pay bills and
Rebuild
trying to
your
stay ahead of yourself, when somebody tells you, these vitamins are,
essential.
$40 a
Yeah.
month and you need to buy them, there's a lot of issues that happen to children and adults that are undergoing chemotherapy. It affects their eyes, it affects their hearing, it affects so many different things. So there are eye patches that we buy. And so there's a $60 fee for these eye patches that we've bought for one family over and over again. So we're not a one and done type of thing. If
Right.
people need things over and over again and they're struggling, we're right there to try and help them as much as we can. And the social workers do guide us, but they're vitamins with iron in them. There's some of them are liquid, some of them are pills. Each doctor has something slightly different that they want the child to try. And it really makes a very, very big difference. We try to avoid some of the long-term effects of the chemo if we can keep abreast of it prior to with some of these things. If they need be, then they may have to get an IV infusion of vitamins. But if we can help them not have to go that far, then that's what we're here to
Because
do.
part of the reason why, I'm gonna turn this a little bit to get your shoulder there. the one of the reasons why it's so important for children to have these vitamins. I mean, we know we all need supplements, right?
Right.
But when a child goes through this type of therapy and treatment, what happens to their bodies? What happens to
Well,
their
they
nutrient
they
supply?
they start to break down,
Mm.
and they're, they become compromised in one way or another. So we need to build their strength, and we need to keep that strength up.
Hmm.
At times, it's hard to maybe take the protein and eat what they should be eating because their stomachs are a
They're
little
nauseous.
nauseous.
Yeah.
So, if we can help them with some of the supplements and extra fluid, then that's the route that,
Hmm.
that will go in conjunction. Nothing takes over in place of something. It's all done in conjunction, of course, under the medical supervision of the pediatric oncologist. But
Absolutely.
we follow, that's where we get our leads from. It all comes from the physicians, the nurse case managers, the clinicians,
Yes,
the
you are
social workers.
superiorly networked
Yeah,
within the
that's
hospital.
that's my deepest network is all of those clinical
Hmm.
professionals. And I'm a clinical professional
Yes, you are.
myself. So as a registered nurse, I know what the team is important. And so everybody comes to the table with something that they'd like. And I sit oftentimes with them and try and
Hmm.
pull the pieces together for them.
Yeah, so vitamins, $50 can provide sustenance and nutrition for children for them to rebuild their lives as they're going through
Through the chemo.
chemotherapy and the other
And
kind of
yeah,
treatments.
right. There's so much to it. And it's
Yeah,
ongoing. It's
and
not
it's
one and
ongoing.
done.
And like you said, Terry, $40 once in a while is not going to make or break anybody. But
Yeah.
as these things build, as
Right.
the costs build, as they keep on coming
Right.
on, some children go through treatment for years, you
Years.
shared
Oh
with
my
me.
gosh. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
ongoing thing. So $50 recurring a month, you can specifically donate that, make a recurring payment, and you'll be able to help a child maintain and rebuild their body as they're fighting cancer. So
I don't,
that's
I
really
don't know if we had, Heather, if we had something for like neutropenic types of snacks and things that we also do with $50 donations, where
beautiful.
we'll go to Stony Brook's Pediatric Cancer Center and different places that ask us to help bring snacks in for the kids. Just anything that they'll eat and keep them
Eating.
healthy and
Yeah.
eating, so they're
Because
not
I can
getting
imagine there's loss of
a
appetite.
lot of loss of appetite. And so
Mhm.
these types of drugs tend to make people want salty products, but we're happy to stock all of these kitchens in these locations so that they can go in and just take snacks, because the hospital's budgets aren't going to cover those little things.
Right.
So it's outside people like yourself that help
Mhm.
us to be able to do these types of things. And it's good. You have to remember the adults too. Mom and the
Right.
caregivers
They're
and the
there.
older sisters and
You
the
don't want to
aunts
leave. Your
and the
baby's
grandmothers,
home.
you're
Your
there.
baby's not home. Your
And
baby's in a hospital. You
right,
do not want to leave.
you want a cup of coffee, we've put coffee machines in places. It's the psychosocial aspect that we
Absolutely.
focus a lot on as well, which is
Of the whole
the whole
family,
family.
not just the
It
child. Yeah.
exactly, yeah, this
Yeah.
is not any type of chronic illness like this affects the entire
Yes,
family.
it does.
Yeah.
And I think we've all come to learn that over the past few years with the things we've gone through.
Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
a singular
Right.
experience.
Yeah.
$75 when you shared this first with me, it really it just touched me in a different way.
Hmm.
$75 supplies comfortable underwear or pajamas for hospitalized children and young adults.
Yeah, so doesn't that sound amazing that we would need to have to do
Yeah,
that?
why is that need there?
So
Why are you asking for people to consider giving a recurring payment of $75 for pajamas and underwear?
yeah, it sounds a little bit funny, but it's really very serious. So now you have all of these kids in the hospital or in a clinic, and a lot of it is done as outpatients in the clinics. And we're in multiple states. So we're talking the
Yes.
same thing no matter what
Hmm.
state we're
20
in.
plus hospitals in
Yeah.
11 states now.
13 states.
13
So
states.
so we're pretty vast. But now this chemo, as you can well imagine, the treatment course that they're getting, the injections that they're getting, make them very nauseous. They have accidents. Mom or dad may not have a change of clothes with them
All
because
the
they didn't
time. Yeah.
expect it. Or they may have had one change of clothes, but unfortunately, the treatment course may be for a few hours and they need a second
They need a
change of
second
clothes.
change.
So imagine how degrading it is to have a child, I don't care if they're 2 years old or 12 years old or anywhere in between, putting a hospital gown now on that child because they soiled something is so degrading to the child. And the parent just feels so awkward as well. But if the nurses' aides, the nurses, any of the ancillary people can walk into a closet and pick out something to put on that child, they just feel so fantastic.
So much
And
better.
just cleaned up, and they don't have to worry.
The humility
the
of the
humility,
humiliation of it.
exactly.
One of my favorite slogans that you have is that you're giving people a moment of dignity,
A moment of dignity.
a smile and a moment of dignity
Yeah,
in moments where it feels like you've lost everything.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you think the child this isn't affecting the child, but believe me when I tell you, my son Mark is my cancer survivor, and he's now 32, and he relates a lot of stories. He was diagnosed when he was 11 with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he relates a lot of times to things that I honestly didn't think he would ever remember or knew or understood, but he sure did. So don't ever underestimate what's going through their minds, because it's there and it makes them feel they just don't know how to feel, and they're afraid, and they don't want their friends to see them.
They know the feeling, they might not know how to process it.
Process it.
Right.
Yes,
But it
yes.
sticks with them.
It does. It's like embedded. This whole process is embedded in their brain.
Yeah.
Especially for, the 7, 8, 10, 12, 14.
Right. And it's
you
so
know.
formative, those
Yeah.
things that we
Yeah.
experience as children.
Yeah, so something
They
so
just stick with
simple.
us.
We've partnered with Amazon that's helping us. So they actually are bringing me a delivery of 140 pieces of
Beautiful.
pajamas and sweatpants and underwear, anything from size infant to 14, 16, boys and girls. Everything is unisex. A lot, not everything, but a lot of things are unisex. So, we can use them for boys or girls. So t-shirts, anything
So
you can think
important,
of. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
it painted such a visual for me that you are, a child is going through this treatment, they're throwing up, they may, soil themselves from the bathroom, and it may happen more than once,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
still going through this treatment,
Right.
and everybody can see,
Right. Yeah.
so yes.
You're in a treatment room, you're not isolated.
Right, you're not isolated. So that's really important. Okay. So $100 covers DoorDash gift card offering families a warm meal after a long day at the hospital. So you went through this before. What is a day like in the life of a family that is trying to help their child or children in your case
Yeah.
survive?
Yeah. So, DoorDash wasn't around in 2004, but just the fact that we can just provide a lunch or, some coffee or breakfast for, the family, and not just the child, but there's usually a sibling that's
Yep.
there with them,
That's
the
getting
parents.
suffering
And
because
yeah, now they've been there for a couple of hours. So now they're hungry, they want something. So we have gift cards in multiple denominations to multiple places that we get. We have little arrangements with like sandwich shops and diners and coffee shops around the hospital area where people
beautiful.
can go, and then they bill us on a monthly basis. So just funding things like that to just make them breathe for a minute. They may have packed a couple of waters and a bag of snacks or what have you, but inevitably whatever snack you packed is not what the child wants at that particular time. So you want salty? I made salty. Now he wants sweet. He wants an egg cream. He wants, something, an egg sandwich, maybe. Sometimes
Yeah.
they come up with the oddest things, and you're like,
Well,
wow,
we all get our cravings.
it's all cravings, right? So, they have multiple places around all these hospital settings,
Right.
where they can call up and have it delivered, or maybe they want to just take 5 minutes and walk downstairs and go outside and get something.
Yeah.
Stony Brook has in their lobby of the building where the pediatric cancer center is a Starbucks. So we used to have a Panera in there, so we would buy a lot of Panera cards. So anything that just makes this treatment time pass, because you're not talking about 20 20 minutes. You're talking about hours, anywhere from 2 hours to sometimes
Infrequently,
8 hours.
infrequently,
Yeah.
often.
Sometimes a couple of times a week. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that we didn't really focus on is that when your child is diagnosed with cancer,
Hmm.
somebody has to stop working
Yes.
to take care of the child. Bills go up.
Right.
So you have
Salaries go down.
salaries go down and bills go up, and it's just ever increasing. And so the things that we're mentioning today are real life needs. You've
Correct.
seen them, you continue to see them. And the accumulation of all of these little things makes such a huge difference on top of the emotional, mental, spiritual, physical stress of it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And having gone through it, I totally understand. And when we started this organization, that's what I went to the social workers and spoke to them about, was I wanted to be hands-on, to be able to help. And I wanted my donors to be hands-on, to be able to help people in the moment, just be able to get through that crisis and get to the next day.
Beautiful.
Because we really can't think too far in advance. Sometimes it's hour to hour. Many times it's day to day. But people say to me, my family says, I have insurance. Why do you need all this assistance? Well, insurance is great and it pays for a lot of things, but it's not paying for these ancillary things.
Right.
Insurance doesn't care that,
You haven't
your
eaten.
food budget went
Yeah.
right out the window, and you're buying things from all different places and spending money that you honestly don't have, because as Heather mentioned, you may not be working and you may be a one, income family or a one
Mhm.
parent. And so how much can you pull from your family unit and your extended family to say, I need a lot of help? So
Right.
that's what we're there for. That's what we're all there for. We're a community, and you're part of the community if you start to work with the Michael Magro Foundation.
Yes. And it really is about that moment of dignity.
It's all
It's
about
about the moment, knowing that we are strong yet very fragile
at the same
at
time.
the same time. And, we just need a moment to breathe sometimes to
Yeah.
make it to the next moment.
Yeah.
And so that's what you and the Michael Magro Foundation have done so beautifully. $250 funds Uber or gas cards, ensuring families can get to and from treatments. So Terry, you told me about a family that you knew
Mhm.
that was in the city and they were taking the bus after
Yeah.
chemotherapy.
That always kills me when I hear these people have to take public transportation.
Yeah.
It's just like the craziest thing, because you're immunosuppressed. In other words, your whole system is suffering. Your blood levels are not at the levels they should be.
Mhm.
And you don't have that fight to be able to fight off bacteria and viruses and things. And now you're on a public, transportation. We can't control every environment, but if we could at least put them into a car,
better one, yeah,
and have a mask on. Prior to COVID, we had the masks as well, but after COVID, we're so much more cognizant of that. But to just be able to put them in a comfortable car and get them to and from treatment
direct
is just,
makes a huge
from
difference.
your house to the place
Yeah.
and back again, it makes all the difference in the world. And we have many families that, we work with a lot of hospitals in New Jersey, Philadelphia, Connecticut, Massachusetts, we're all over.
Mhm.
That doesn't necessarily mean that they live close to a hospital.
Right.
Here on Long
Right.
Island and in
New
New York
York,
City,
we have a lot of access.
we have a lot of access.
Yes.
So it could take
Thank God.
people an hour or two.
Yeah.
So sometimes these Uber rides are,
Or
$100
the
or
gas.
$200.
Where gas
And
is
the
just
gas, parking, it all
Tolls.
adds up. Tolls.
Yeah.
So we underwrite a lot of that to help these people with those expenses, and that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
I try as hard as I can to just take the worry of how am I going to get to clinic to get this child their treatment, especially if it's a couple of days a week, usually a few days a month. You have no idea. Everything is very different. So there's no, cookie cutter kind of thing. Protocols are written nationally. Everybody follows them that way, but then things happen. And so you get to a clinic and you think you're going to be there, or to the hospital or to the doctor's office, and you think you're going to be there for 5-10 minutes and then maybe be able to go on with your day, and your blood values are low. So now you're
Right.
there for 3 hours getting hydrated because you needed a liter of fluid, and then you needed 1 or 2 liters of blood or platelets, and none of this stuff can go in just like that. It's got to infuse over a long amount of time. It's not a short time, not a short duration. So now what are you doing? You're parked in this parking lot for what you thought maybe was going to be a $20 or $25 for a short amount of time
Right.
becomes 75 or 100. Multiply that times a couple of times a week, type a couple of times a
Yeah,
month.
it's a lot. Plus
It's a
everything
lot,
else that we're talking about.
and everything else, and the gas, and so we try to pull. That's the only thing I have
Well, you
control
lived it.
over.
You lived
Yeah.
it. So you know exactly what this does to a
Right.
family
Right. It
beyond the health
the health.
aspect
Right.
of it.
Right. The doctor, his protocols, his treatment plan is in place, but it's everything else that you don't
Right.
really think about. So if I can just be the vehicle to help make that day go a little smoother for the people, then that's what we're all
Yeah,
about.
absolutely. I'll keep saying it, a moment of
The
dignity, a
moment of dignity for
smile, and
everybody. It's a
for
moment of
everyone,
dignity
for
for
everyone.
everybody.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes it's a lot of car repairs too,
Yeah.
because the car wasn't meant to be going these distances, and it breaks down.
Yeah, that's what happens. So this one also is very impactful, long-term effects. $500. $500 covers a year of sperm storage. $500 covers a year of sperm storage, giving young patients the chance to preserve their future. Tell us about that, Ted.
So this was something that I was not familiar with at the beginning when Michael and Mark were both diagnosed. Mark was prepubescent. Michael was 13, but he was so sick that we didn't even have the opportunity to think about sperm preservation. But chemotherapy, radiation therapy, the medications that they're on, across the board, these things can really deplete their sperm count or make them sterile. So what we try to do, and it's a hard conversation,
It's a
honestly,
very hard conversation,
because
especially
now
with
you're
children.
right.
Yeah.
You're talking to a mom of a 14, 15, 16-year-old who was just diagnosed with cancer. She can't, or he can't, wrap their head around this diagnosis. And now we're saying to them, and we have to think about something else. We have to think about long term for your son and preserving sperm so that we can put it into a bank. So when he's old enough, he has the
He'll have a,
ability
yeah,
to
if he needs
access
it, he'll
it.
have a chance at it.
So,
Yeah.
right. So now, they're thinking of this and they're like, you got to be kidding me. And we're
Right.
not, but it just hits them like that's the last thing in the world they're thinking about. But we're trying to be as proactive and open
Because
with
you've
that.
been through it
Because
again.
again, yeah. So prior, if we can, the treatment course starting is when they try to do this, and you do it with the sperm bank, and they hold it. But what happens is if it's not done, and now your child is 30 and they're getting engaged and they're getting married and they're trying
Right.
to have a baby and they find out they're sterile. And why are they sterile? They're sterile because of their history. And now they find out it's like a double whammy to them. So now they got a gut punch even harder
Again.
because
Yeah.
now they find out that they're unable to
Right.
produce the sperm that's needed.
To have
So
children.
whenever
Yeah.
we can do this, we try.
So a little touchy subject, a
Yeah,
little not talked about and probably unexpected,
totally
but
unexpected.
totally
Yeah.
unexpected. But now you understand why that this is even a consideration, because it's so serious, right? It's so serious. You've lived it, families are living it, it's a reality. So $500 will go towards a year
A
of
year, a year
of
of sperm storage, the
sperm
storage.
storage for a
And I
child.
don't want you to think we're not thinking about the females, because we do, and there are organizations that are helping them. But that's a whole different process. It's a lot more involved, a lot more expensive, but that is done with the help of all of the female physicians and gynecology. And so there are
Okay.
organizations that focus on that as well. So it's a consideration for the young women as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, $1,000 helps a family avoid eviction or keep utilities on during their most difficult moments. So this is like one of the biggest things that you contribute to, because you've shared with me that so many people are used to they're used to taking care of themselves.
Sure.
So there's pride involved when things start to fall apart. and they wait to the last minute, unfortunately.
That's the unfortunate part. As much as the social workers try so hard to try and get a picture of what the financial status is like in the family, people are like, no, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm
Right.
fine. And then they're 1 month behind in their mortgage, they're 2 months behind in their mortgage. So then the social worker is reaching out. And so for here on Long Island, those 1 month, 2 months could equate to 3,000, 5,000,
Yeah, 5,000 is more like it.
yeah,
7,000.
and it just goes up,
Yeah.
right? So you're out of control now. So we try very hard, to pay the rent, mortgage. If we can't do the whole thing, we will work with another organization to help. The social workers are very grateful for anything that's done. And they'll even reach out to other organizations because, like I have mentioned, some of these, and you know yourselves, some of these mortgages are $5,000-6,000 a month.
Astronomical. Yeah.
And if you're not working and everything else is going on, that's a big ticket.
You lose your house in the middle of it.
You
Yeah.
lose your house, you're getting evicted, and landlords, some of them just they'll take so much and then they're not really interested anymore. They just want to get paid. Utility bills are a big one, so we pay a lot of utility bills, and that's the gas and the oil and the electric. We pay a tremendous amount of car payments, car loans, car insurance, because those are getting, picked up all of a sudden. Somebody's knocking at your door and taking your car away. Telephones, telephone bills, telephone, cell service, all of that, they'll shut it off after a while.
Necessities, yeah.
So, and that's a lifeline. Most people
Right.
don't even have a home line anymore. So if you
Right.
don't have a cell phone, at least to speak to a
Can't do
doctor,
anything.
you have no idea what's going on. So
Right.
we've gone as far as buying some cell phones for people. And we pay a tremendous amount of those. So we buy gift cards in the from an organization that discounts them.
Nice.
And that's about $5,000 every few months of gift cards that we buy. And those are to grocery stores, gas stations, Walmart, Target. There's stores that have everything. So you can get diapers there, you can get food there, you can get medication there. So the social workers take all those cards and they distribute them as needed. We had a young family come in and say to the social worker got a phone call. And the mom said, did that lady drop off any gift cards recently to Stop and Shop, which was the biggest one that I guess we do for grocery stores? And she said, yes, as a matter of fact, she was here a few days ago. And she said, well, can we get another $50 gift card? And she said, absolutely. She came in with her toddler. And the little toddler said, can we buy orange juice now?
Right. Wow.
So something so simple that you and I all take for granted it's just a tough situation
it's not
in.
something that everybody has access to, especially
yeah and it takes it really it gets to you when you hear these things and you realize then that we talk about food insufficiencies. Well, here we are, this is exactly what we're seeing. And people are buying food from fast food companies that aren't necessarily the nutritional value, so we want them to be able to go to Stop and Shop and buy the chicken and the meat and the things that are vegetables, right? Yeah. All the things that we need for sustainability. It's hard. Yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah. Well, you've been making a difference for 20 years, Terry.
Yes.
Incredible.
And I make a difference because you guys are all out there helping me.
Yes.
So again,
absolutely.
I can't say
it's
it
not
enough.
a one-woman show.
Yeah. And I can't do it. I can just do so much. But we raise our money with monthly and quarterly donations. The MichaelMagroFoundation.com is our website. And there's a recurrent page for donations. There's a one-time.
We'll share that, definitely.
There's quarterly donations. There's matching gifts.
Matching gifts are
if you come to an event and you submit something to your company.
If you give $33, you can submit it for matching.
For a matching gift. Yeah.
Most companies, substantial companies have that. And even some of the smaller ones will match it for you. So let's go over the list real quick. So we have it. $33 will provide 2 distraction bags filled with toys and games to bring smiles during treatments when the kids are just, their bodies are being torn apart. They're filled with fear and anxiety. And these distraction bags really help take their mind off of it. Not only the children, but the parents too.
Yes. Yeah.
$50 purchases essential vitamins for kids undergoing chemotherapy so that they can rebuild and sustain their body.
Right.
Sometimes it's way more than that, but the $50 is a good starting point. It adds up. And we can help ensure that the kids are getting the essential nutrients that they need to try and rebuild, because chemotherapy tears you apart from the inside out.
Yeah.
It tears you apart.
And we're treating with some tough drugs.
Tough drugs. Yeah. $75 supplies comfortable underwear and pajamas for hospitalized children and young adults, because as they're getting their treatments, they're having accidents. They're nauseous. They don't have control over their bowels or their urinary functions.
Right.
And it can happen more than once.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
It can happen more than once in a session. So that's a really needed provision for the kids. $100 covers a DoorDash gift card after offering families a warm meal after a long day at the hospital, right? Or they just need groceries because bills are out of control. Money is down and bills are
We want to make sure the whole family is eating.
The whole family eats.
Yeah.
It just helps you get through it.
Yes.
You know, as difficult as it is. $250 funds an Uber or gas card, ensuring families can get to and from treatment, because sometimes they can't.
Right.
Sometimes they can't.
Right.
Very serious. It all adds up. $500 covers a year's sperm storage for a young male, giving him the chance to preserve his future.
Right.
Because again, these treatments wreak havoc on the system. They wreak havoc on the system. And $1,000 helps a family avoid eviction or keep utilities on during their most difficult moments.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest areas that you give to.
Yeah, that's a lion's share of our budget is paying for utilities and gift cards for food and all of those types of things. So that's the biggest part of our budget. But like Heather mentioned, 90 cents on a dollar. We're all volunteers. We don't pay rent. We don't pay salaries. So that's how we're able to do it. But grants and donations and companies getting involved and sponsorships. Companies can get involved and run an event with their office that maybe they want to do a back to school. We do back to school drives, backpack drives at the holidays, all year long. We say the holidays, but honestly, it's all year long that we do toys, whether they're infant toys or regular toys. Because
gift card
drives
all year long.
Because they're in the
and that's really easy to do a gift card drive at your company. If you want to know, just like to dip your little pinky toe in.
Yes.
You could do a gift card drive.
So what we ask for with those are things that we can maybe share with one of the siblings as well. You know, that the older or younger brother or sister wants to go to Starbucks, and it's $25 at Starbucks doesn't do a lot. But it may not be the patient that needs to go to Starbucks, but we're always saying no to the sibling, because $25 when you're trying to pay all your bills is a lot of money. But the kids want to be back in the game. The siblings want to just get some sort of normalcy back in their home. And it's hard to understand, especially when it's an ongoing and it's a treatment plan that's taken for years.
Years.
That's so, you know, we always think about that, but Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Amazon, sometimes even just a Visa card, and they don't have, the denominations don't have to be outrageous, but something that they can just buy something for themselves and they feel like, you know, they feel good. We do some PS5 gift cards for the kids with the consoles. We do a lot of PS5 cards for the kids in the hospital, because if we give them the gift card, they can access the whole system that's connected to the hospital back to their, you know, login, and they can continue playing with the game. So if they're in their bed, at least they can play, and they've got the game, you know, right there at their fingertips, because they had a $50 PS5 gift card. That seems to be the system right now. I may be behind in that, because I don't know, my son's 32. But you get the idea.
There's some denomination of that going on here. Yeah, I have no idea. I just know it's a big deal. So good people, we ask you to consider the Magro Foundation. It is hands down one of the best, most impactful directly going, 90% going directly to families. A lot of the big organizations that you've heard of, nonprofit charities, they're not able to do that for many reasons, but we are. We're also hyper local. And like Terry said, we're in 13 states. Everyone is vetted that we serve through the social workers and the staff within the hospital. There's also no bureaucracy. So it's, are you fighting cancer? Where's your bill? Have you spoken with the social worker? All right, let's get something done right now. And that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because that's what people who are suffering, fighting for their child's life need.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Right.
So
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
MicroMagroFoundation.com, go to the donations page. You'll see a whole pull down on how you can get involved. Company leaders, we are asking you to think about sponsoring us, partnering with the Magro Foundation to do so much more good in the world, and be a shining bright light in the community.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. We appreciate everybody's understanding of what we do.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. That should be good. Oh,
Yeah.
that should be good.
This should be good.
Like, stop. Let's go forward. On my cursor, so I can't do. All right. How do you feel about it?
I think you'll chop it up and
Yeah.
make it sound well.